Hi all, here's the game that I played yesterday in the 19th round of the club championship. I had white, I played d4. This is actually a game that it's not very exciting. It's not a very big fight, but I think it can be very instructive. We had this ninja Indian defense, bishop b4, and I played a3. Now the normal reaction here for black is to take on c3, giving the bishop spare, but giving white a double pawn on c3 and c4, and the main strategy of black here is to attack this double pawn. That's done often by playing b6, c5, bishop to a6 to attack the c4 pawn, and then the knight goes from b8 to c6 and then to a5, attacking c4 as well. So that's the main point of attack for black in the normal setup. But in this game, instead of taking on c3, my opponent played bishop to e7, and that's a very passive move. It's not a good continuation, I think. He gave me the possibility to gain control over the center by e4, and now he played d5 to have some counterplay on the center. I played e5, knight went to e4, and now here I took on e4, I took the knight. I could have played queen to g4 immediately. That's something that I didn't see during the game. I played this move queen g4 later, but I could have done it right now, because if he takes on c3, I can first take on g7, and the rook on h8 is attacked, so I can have to go to f8, and then I can take on c3 and I have a very good position. But in the game I took the knight on e4, and after d takes e4, I couldn't play here queen to g4, because then queen takes d4, my pawn on d4 hangs. So that's why I played first bishop to e3. My opponent castled here, and now I played queen to g4, not only attacking the d4 pawn, but also threatening bishop to h6 with a mate threat on g7. My opponent reacted by f5. I took en passant on f6, bishop takes f6, and now I took the pawn on e4. And here there is actually only one way to try to get some counterplay for black, and that is playing the move c5. And still white has a better position, but at least this is a way of attacking the white center. In the game, my opponent didn't do this, but he played the move knight to c6. That is a poor move. It blocks the c pawn, so this center of white gets very strong. This d4 pawn gets very strong. I defended my pawn by playing my knight to f3, and here my opponent played rook to e8. He's trying to liberate his position by playing e5. Now to prevent this, I played knight to e5, blocking this pawn. Queen to d6 was played, and here I took the decision to try to simplificate the position, having the idea that the ending would be good for me. I played c5. The queen goes to d5. Now I exchanged queens, and after that I exchanged these knights here. So we get this. Well, it's still a middle game, but it's near the ending actually, in which I have a pawn more here on the king side, and on the queen side there are two weak points over here. So that means that this ending is very promising for white. I'll show you something now by changing the position a bit. Okay, now as you can see, I have removed all the pieces except the pawns now. It's the same position, and this is to make clear how easy it would be to win with white this endgame. The idea is simply to bring the king towards the center and advance the f-pawn, because the f-pawn is what's called the candidate pawn, the pawn that will promote later. And it's a matter of time. If all the pieces start advancing here, all the pawns start advancing, there is a moment when black has to let this f-pawn walk through. There is actually no way for black to prevent the majority of pawns here of white to advance and create a pass pawn at a certain point. And actually this way is a very easy one pawn ending for white, as you can see. So these weak pawns here now, c7 and c6, will fall soon, even if black is allowed to take this pawn here. So this is to illustrate that white doesn't have to be afraid of exchanging pieces, because the pawn ending will be won for white. And that's why I wanted to simplify the position. I wanted to exchange queens and exchange the knight, and later also exchange the rooks. That's what happened in the game. I'll go back to the game now. Okay, here's the position where we left after knight takes c6, b takes c6. I cancel queenside, rook b8. Now it's a matter of developing my pieces and trying to exchange pieces. Rook d2, rook e7, h3. The bishop goes to d7. Now rook e2, trying to take control over this e file that's so important. Here I had to also be careful for possible sacrifices on e3. Now right now taking e3 would not be correct, but in some variations later there were possibilities that I had to calculate. So that's why I moved my king to c2 out of this diagonal, so to make eventually combinations by rook takes e3 and then a bishop putting on this diagonal to make that impossible. So I wouldn't have to be worried about that. I took on g4, he took back with the bishop, and I play f3, and he went to h5 with the bishop. Actually after the game someone pointed out that maybe bishop to h4 would be a way of saving the game for black, because he's attacking this rook on e3, on e1, I'm sorry, and after this rook leaves e1, the bishop on e3 would be insufficient defended. But after rook to h1, I'm attacking his bishop as well, so then it doesn't make any sense for black to take on e3, because after rook takes 3, rook takes 3, rook takes h4, the bishop on g4 is attacked, and if it moves then h7 falls, bishop takes f7 check, so the ending still is won for white. That means that after f3, bishop h5 was played. I wanted on bishop to f2. What I'm trying is simply to exchange these rooks here to achieve this one pawn ending. I exchange the other rook, bishop g3, attacking the c7 pawn that's weak. It's defended, centralizing of this bishop here. This bishop is very strong now here on the center. Bishop g6, that makes the task for me even easier because I can exchange this one now. And now it's a matter of using this candidate pawn, the f pawn, to advance it and go with my king towards his weak pawns on the queen side. King d7, king b4, king c8, king a5, bishop h4, f5, take, take. King goes to d7, realizing that he has to take care of this pass pawn here on this f pawn. But then the king goes to a6, and after king e7, the king goes to b7, bishop f6, take on f6, take on f6, and now king takes c6. And here my opponent resigned, because it's impossible to save this d pawn now. After king takes c5, king takes the d pawn, and the c4 pawn will fall, and this other one will promote. So that's the game that I played yesterday, and there were some interesting moments. For example, the moment here of queen to g4. That's actually the moment that I got this much better position. And interesting is also the idea of if let me think, in this position here, after queen d5, realizing as a white player that exchanging the pieces will lead to a one ending for me, because of that I have one pawn more. So the main strategy is simply to simplify, exchange all the heavy pieces to get a one pawn ending. So okay, I hope you enjoyed this one, and that you find it useful to watch this video, and I'll see you next time on YouTube. Okay, thank you, bye bye.